issue here. I've heard from people that called 563-5151, and they're getting response saying there's no officers available to come to the call right now.
Stay tuned as I showcase lots of information from the interim police chief in this video. First things first, as soon as the new Waterford meeting started, it was clear that the tone was going to be one of immense frustration. In this case, Councillor O'Quinn is acknowledging the frustration of people calling police but feeling like they are not getting help. Of course not. We have traditional ideas about emergency services that lead to this frustration. We think that calling 911 for medical help results in an ambulance coming in minutes. We think that calling 911 for police results in police arriving soon thereafter with red and blues. And we think that entering the ER with an emergency results in expedient attention. And as we know, that simply isn't the case. I'll show you that the police are frustrated too. But first, let's see some of the reasons the citizens of the CBRM are fed up with the criminal justice system.
Because we can't do it alone. We really can't, and that's just the honest part of it. We can do so much, but we need you to pick up the phone and call when that person or that house is in your area, and we need that information so we can build that complaints up. So then we can go, it's called a judicial authorization through the courts.
Somewhere
so
around
the judge has to
27
sign, so it gives me and our officers the ability to go in and arrest somebody and search their home. It's not taken very lightly, right? It's not by one or two people calling. It's by a system of a search warrant that sometimes takes up to 15 or 20 points, 15 or 20 calls, 15 or 20 complaints, that gives us the authorization that a judge is going to say, yeah, I believe you, and I'm going to give you the authority to go in and kick somebody's door in to remove them and search for drugs.
15 or 20 complaints? With people in the rant rooms and scanner groups screaming about rats, rats, rats every time someone doesn't like poison sold in their communities, creating street zombies who steal to continue zombifying, and driving children into foster care, maybe that's a little bit difficult. It might also be difficult when their door gets kicked in on Sunday night and they're back rehanging the door themselves on Monday afternoon, trying to figure out who told on them for destroying lives for profit. One officer and a superior officer signing their name should be enough. The court's standards are too high, particularly when it's often the same people doing the same old things over and over again. Maybe the courts just need to ration out the vacancies at Hotel Folsom.
Or if you see someone injecting a needle in that, are they getting charged? Like if I was out on the street having a bottle of beer, I'm getting charged with drinking a bottle or intoxicating someone. So are they getting charged?
Yeah, so again, it goes back to evidence. If they're after injecting it and it's in their arm and they don't have any other drugs on them, then no. But if it's before that happens, if they have, say, some more cocaine in their pocket, yeah, absolutely. But again, this is going to go through the prosecutor to say, and they're going to look at it, the size of the sample, right? If it's below a certain amount, they're not going to prosecute that because they know that that whole court shift on smaller amounts of drugs.
From the chief's comments, we can infer that the reason people report seeing folks injecting or using drugs in the public is that the police don't believe it's prosecutable in most cases. However, we have separation of responsibility. The police aren't the ones to decide if something is prosecuted. It's their job to stop people from breaking the law, even if they ended up frustrated when the courts just let them get away with it. We'll see a little bit more of that philosophical overlap in this next comment.
My ability to charge somebody with a person that's going through addiction, it doesn't register in terms of, I charge you, you stop using drugs. It's deeper than that.
He's right that it's deeper than that. Although we've had calls for more civilians to join policing agencies like people with healthcare expertise, the police themselves are not a healthcare agency. They just end up policing some of the worst behavior outcomes from a healthcare system that is not able to handle the demand for help from folks with mental health needs or suffering from addictions. When a crime is committed, make the arrest. As an agency that understands the relationship with healthcare, pursue advocacy to the levels of government that do have that responsibility. Just apply the criminal code and let the courts do their thing. While I'm calling for policing agencies to focus on policing, that frustration I mentioned isn't limited just to community members. How many catch and release arrests do police have to make before they start wondering why they bother?
I get it. I'm just trying to give you that perspective of when we do arrest and when we do those things, we're still as frustrated as you are when they're out the next day.
They don't like catch and release any more than the rest of us. Imagine you were a janitor. You mop the floor, and a guy comes in and pisses on it. You mop it up again, but every time you do, he comes back and pisses on it again. How long before you decide to just stop mopping?
I'll give you a concrete example yesterday of somebody on a house arrest, stealing in the mall. Officers chased them, brought them back, and they were looking to release them again to a friend. So these are the things that when officers have 20, 30, 40 occurrences with the same people.
20 or 30 or 40 occurrences with the same people. I have a theory that if the courts didn't do catch and release and the healthcare system had some treatment options that were better designed to succeed, we wouldn't need to worry about hiring new officers. We might need less. That's why I often say the province should be paying our entire police budget. Why? Because most of the time our officers spend is a result of courts and a healthcare system that keeps pissing on the floor they just mopped. We're doing work because of them, and we should be working smarter, not harder.
They arrest somebody and they're gone the next day. Catch and release. So the attitude, like some of the community, well, I call the cops up, they're just going to release them tomorrow morning. You have someone going around chopping fingers off and robbing liquor stores. 2 days after they do it, they're out again.
Pierre Poilievre struck gold when using catch and release for election rhetoric. He's not really the most charismatic guy, but he hit a nerve with folks and tapped into their frustration. There is a bunch of complexity involved with understanding Supreme Court rulings, Bill C-75, C-5, C-48, and C-14, and very few of us have law degrees. But if the courts suggest people charged with crimes should be released at the earliest reasonable opportunity, we just have to let them know what our definition of reasonable is. And if the courts suggest release could be denied if it would undermine confidence in the justice system, we should let them know that we don't have very much confidence left in the justice system when we see people released on conditions who then commit crimes and violate conditions and repeat it all over again.
Whether it's their sidearms being done, the tasers. We've purchased 165 body cameras, 3 technician positions to go with that for better protection of our officers and the evidence that's necessary. We now have $500,000 of public security cameras that those technicians will be installing across the CDRM in the downtown cores and hotspots that have been identified.
The mayor suggests body cameras and public surveillance cameras. I'm not going to disagree, as cameras were in my mayoral platform, and I think body cameras are essential to protect everyone, including those being arrested. If it was up to me, I'd call Montreal Police and ask them if they want to sell the Cloud Runner CR H2 surveillance camera. If you didn't read the recent news story, Montreal Police were compelled to remove a high-powered camera system with AI tracking of vehicle and people moving throughout the city. However, from the discussion at the meeting, we can see that for public drug use and sales, it probably wouldn't matter. If a person can have a needle hanging out of their arm and a small amount of cocaine or pills on them and not be charged, what does it matter if a police body camera or a surveillance camera records them? Or if we could watch a video stream of addicted folks walking up to one crack house, as the Cape Breton Post declared them today, what would it matter if we recorded them but couldn't get a warrant? The local police currently have an online reporting tool. However, if they want to build up 15 to 20 reports in order to secure warrants for drug dealers, then they should add a category, drug dealing, as well as public drug use, to the 6 categories they have now. I'll include the links to both the Cape Breton Regional Police form as well as the Crime Stoppers form, which is more comprehensive. Remember, you're not reporting someone for being on disability and building a shed, or buying stamps, or claiming single while collecting social assistance. The meeting was very clear that people think drug abuse and its side effects are taking away their community from them, and they want it back. So if you want it back, you're going to have to play a part in stopping the people who are poisoning it. By making sure that a lack of information is never one of the challenges the police face in keeping the community safe.
I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on.